is 2:00 and we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to the joint meeting for the Rules and Open Government Committee and Committee of the Whole. Can we have a roll call, please?
Arenas, Cohen,
Here.
Davis, here. Peralez, Jones.
Present.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start out with the agenda for May 17th. And we're going to start out on pages 4 and 5. Six and 7. Eight and 9. Ten and 11. 12 and 13. 14 and 15. 16 and 17. 18 and 19. 20 and 21. 22. And that is it. And there's an add sheet for the maker of the motion, but we're going to go to public comments first.
Catherine Hedges.
Hi, I'm calling on behalf of Somos Mayfair, and I'm a little bit confused about which agenda this is because I got a notice from them saying that they need people to comment on voting for all residents of San Jose, including undocumented people. And
That item was on for the evening of the 17th, but it's been moved and the new date will be at the next rules meeting next week.
thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. All right.
Ms. Rain Mendoza.
Yes. Hi, how are you? My name is Mr. Mendoza. I'm a taxpayer, resident of San Jose for over 25 years, and I'm a non-resident. And I'm here to ask you to please consider to schedule and give us a real time for the 23, which is a Monday. I saw the agenda. You guys have a little chance to do it that day. Please do not delay this any longer. Okay, we need our voices to be heard. We've been in the shadows for too long. Please, you guys have the power to do this agenda in 72 hours if you guys would like to do that. Okay, give the taxpayers a voice. We pay our taxes every single day. Okay, and we have been treated as a second-class citizens, and that's not right. Okay, I just want to remind you, according to the Santa Clara County data, we are about a little over 350,000 non-citizens in the Santa Clara County. Okay, and we come from all type of places. 3,000 individuals are from Korea, 7,000 individuals are from Vietnam, 23,000 individuals are from India, and 69,000 individuals are from Mexico and Central America. Okay, and we also bring in about $5.3 billion in state money, taxes, okay, and 12.9 billion in federal taxes. I think we have the right to have our voice heard. We pay taxes. Our dollar costs us any other dollar anybody else has. okay? Not because we're non-citizens, we don't have a voice. That's not right. Please, please, I urge you, this committee, to put the study session for the 23. Please, thank you very much.
Okay, that item is not on the agenda for the 17th. So anybody who wants to speak on that item, I let one person go through, but I have several other hands that went up. You can talk about that issue under open forum because that item is not on the May 17th agenda. So I only need speakers who want to talk about items that are currently scheduled on the May 17th agenda, which does not include non-citizen voting rights. The next speaker with their hand up is Letty.
Yes, hi, my name is Leticia and I work for Sacred Heart Community Service. I heard what you said about that you are not receiving comments on the study session, but the reason why we are here is because we know that.
No,
we
I'm
have
not
no-
saying, excuse me, I'm not saying you can't talk about it. I'm saying you need to talk about it under open forum because it's not on the agenda for May 17th.
Okay, so when is the open forum then?
It's the last item on the agenda, so we are gonna have.
Today.
Yes, today.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
just
sense.
hang on.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Luna.
My name is Tony Romero. I was about to speak about the same. We just want to make sure that the time will be available this
Yes.
for this meeting. Thank you.
Yes. Victor, are you on the same topic?
No, just wanna also take the time to totally frustrating situation, right?
Okay,
And
we'll
so just-
we'll
Oh,
take
no,
that at, we'll take it at open forum. Open forum, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about right now. We're only talking about May 17th. Okay, back to council.
Okay. Can I get a motion in a second, including the ad sheet, please?
Move approval with the ad sheet.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the agenda for May 24th. Then we're going to start out on pages 4 and 5. Six and 7. Eight and 9. Ten and 11. 12 and 13. 14 and 15. And that is it. So we're going to go to the public.
I have no hands up.
Okay. And Lee, I haven't asked you about load balancing lately. You guys have done a great job in terms of balancing the agenda. So I just want to give you some kudos.
Thank you.
Especially since I always give you a hard time, I thought I'd give you a pat on the back. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Credit goes to Gloria and the team.
Can I get a motion and a second for the agenda, please?
Move. Second.
All right. Tony?
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Peralez.
Yes, and I believe Councilman Hernandez is with us now.
Oh, okay, thank you. Jones
Aye.
and Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, on to the consent calendar, and we'll go to the public first.
I have no hands up for consent.
Okay, bringing it back to the committee.
Move
Move
approval
approval.
of consent.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye. Okay, so I'm going to cruise on to the next topic, which is eliminating the regulation of cruising from the San Jose Municipal Code, which is Councilmember Peralez memo. And we're going to go to the public first to get public comments.
Okay, Robert Diaz.
Yes, hi. My name is Robert Diaz. I am the Vice President of the United Lowrider Council of San Jose. And I support the Councilman Peralez's proposal to eliminate the regulation of the cruising in San Jose.
We lost you. I don't know what happened to you. You dropped off. So I'm gonna move
I
on.
do apologize. Can you hear me still? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear
Hello.
you.
We
Yeah,
can
go
hear you
ahead.
again.
Yeah, so again, I do support Councilman Peralez's proposal. The ordinance has long been discriminatory and racist policy that only seeks to criminalize the Chicano culture. And me being a Chicano from San Jose, born and raised, and been in the lowrider community since the 80s, early 80s until today, we feel this no cruising affects us in various different ways. We feel we do get discriminated upon, and I think this would be a way to help everything that's going on in the community as far as it pertains to cruising. We know there's a lot of sideshows and there's a lot of burnouts that do happen in the Bay Area, which we don't condone, we don't participate in, and it's not part of the lowrider community.
Robert,
Yes,
are you done?
I am done. Thank you.
Okay, I thought your sound cut out. Victor Vasquez.
Yeah, completely in support of this proposal by Councilmember Peralez. It's long overdue. A petty way of continuing to criminalize the Chicano community and any brown body that's out there hanging out in public streets and being part and doing a positive aspect of their community, showing off their culture, being proud of where they're from. Councilmember Carrasco always mentions that although LA might claim the rights to fame of the lowrider culture, it is San Jose who put it on a map and put it on a map in a positive way. So a current theme, right? Very late. How many years has it taken us for us to move in this direction? Delay justice for East Side and brown bodies again. So I wanna thank Councilmember Peralez for bringing this forward and in support.
Catherine Hedges.
Good afternoon. I'm not a member of the lowrider community. You guys are familiar with my old German beater, but I support the lowrider community. As everybody said, it's part of the San Jose culture. It's part of Chicano culture that's being criminalized. And people with lowriders are not going to sideshows. They're not going to risk a piece of art doing donuts and maybe going out of control. I mean, the lowrider cars, they're meant just to be shown off. And the lowrider community, there's a lot of good friendships there and community. And we need to support that, not criminalize it. Thank you very much. I yield my time.
Veronica.
Great, thank you. I'm also here in support of this memo. I want to thank Councilmember Peralez as well. And just like I want to echo the previous commenters, right? This is long overdue. I can't tell you how frustrating it is that I have to explain to my children especially during this month, right? That why is our streets closed? Why do we have to go all around? Oh, it's because, we're being criminalized for showing and for wanting to show our culture and a very, very rich culture, right? And instead our streets are being shut down. And again, right, being criminalized as like, no, you low riders are they're gang bangers and they bring violence and all of that. So definitely, again, long overdue. I look forward for more reimagination of this, for more on showing our children how proud we are of our culture and not being criminalized. And as often it is, again, our brown and black bodies being criminalized, our children, right? And being ashamed of our culture when it's a beautiful culture. And like speaker said before, Victor said it before, right? It came from here, and it's a long standing that other people are studying about it outside our San Jose, and our children don't even know about it. Because why? Because we criminalize it. So again, looking forward for more of this to come. Thank you.
Diliza?
Good afternoon. My name is Ilsa Gonzalez. I'm a community member and a community organizer. I want to say thank you to Council Perales for bringing this to the table. As the previous speakers have said before, this is way overdue. As a community member that lives in the community where all of this cruising happening, where we show up how proud of our culture, our language we are, in the history part that we have brought to San Jose. I have also seen how many of my people have lost their only cars that they have to be able to take them to work, to bring them to work, even though they're not part of that Lowrider or they're not part of that cruising because of the many closing that the San Jose Police Department has done, or checkpoints. I have also seen how many of our members have also been arrested or persecuted because they are just in there and not being part of this, right? And also, this is just an attack for our community. The community that is more affected is our brown community, our Hispanic, Latinos, minorities. We need to stop this. We need to, when we go and speak out there of how happy we are of our diverse San Jose, then we need to also be proud of the cultures and the things that we have done and we bring to this. The lowrider community, I love to go see them, and I remember my early teens going out and walking to be able to appreciate the beauty of those cars, and that has been taken away from my kids. They're not able to see that these years or the years past this. So thank you, Council Perales, for bringing this to the table. It is overdue, and I hope everybody votes on favor of this.
Brian Darby?
I echo what the other fine people said, but also there's an economic standpoint. I remember the cruising, and the cars were exquisite. The artwork, the electronics, the engines, and that can lead to really not be prosperous. It leads to people learning to do things, working on cars, working on hydraulics, working on electronics. All of that leads it to a good vocation. But like the other people were saying, the diverse community, and we want to get everybody, the cars are exquisite. They really are. If you've seen them, I've just, the painting details, and the people that spend the money on those cars, it's a labor of love and a sense of accomplishment, and all that's really important. So I really support this too. Thank you.
Arturo?
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. Yes, so my name is Arturo. I'm from Barrio Voices. And through Barrio Voices, I've gone to meet and highlight and record a lot of great episodes regarding lowriding within our community, specifically in San Jose. And one of the discoveries that I made is that by interviewing a lot of leaders within the lowrider community is that a lot of lowrider clubs function as nonprofits. And so in addition to, providing a lot of culturally enriching opportunities for our young folks and for our community members, it's also a very charitable way for community members, Chicanos specifically, or other communities from other ethnic backgrounds to also contribute to their community through being part of these clubs. A lot of times it's some of the charities that they have, some of the causes behind those charities have been like breast cancer awareness, or donating backpacks to children, or even toys during Christmas as well. So there's a lot of upside of continue to uplift our lowrider community. So not only should we remove the criminalization of lowrider communities, but we should also continue to praise them for the work that they're doing within our own communities as functioning nonprofits, as we do to other organizations that continue to have this Eurocentric image, rather than this image of the Chicano image as well. So again, continue to not only advocate for our Lowrider community, but continue to praise them and recognize them for the work that they actually contribute to within our San Jose community. And I yield my time. Thank you.
David? David?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, my name is David Polanco, president of the United Lowrider Council of San Jose. I'm calling in, obviously, in support of Raul Perales' proposal. Many people have made positive comments and things that I planned on saying, but something a little different is, we organized because of, things like that, the no cruising and, the way the lowrider community is portrayed even throughout the world, and San Jose being who we are, the culture still lived regardless of those signs. And I think it's very important to understand that it's not going anywhere. And the removal of the signs is a good step forward. As the previous speaker said, we've done a lot in the community to prove that we are a functional and vibrant part of the community. We're here to support people in need, trying to create that positive interaction between the municipalities like yourselves, the council members and San Jose Police. And, I've had a lot of conversations with San Jose Police and, unofficially, they support us. They see what we do. They see, the people that are driving these cars and building them. They're not what people portray in the movies. We're all blue-collared, white-collared business owners and active, coaches. We're everything. We are San Jose. So I'm in support of the ordinance change, and I hope you consider it. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
Thank you. I just know I'm getting nostalgic about cruising down the street in a 1977 Impala. So it's bringing back some good memories. So Councilmember Perales, you want to take this one?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I forgot to raise my hand. I just unmuted myself. I'm too excited. And I appreciate your lead into the item, cruising into this item. I like the lead in there. Well, first off, thank you to the community members that joined us today to speak up in support. I will agree, this has been a long time coming, and actually, for me, didn't really dawn as an opportunity until we started to implement some new policies on sideshows and the gatherings, specifically around sideshows. As my council colleagues know, we've had a growing trend and challenge with the large sideshows that we've had throughout the city. Very dangerous events, people getting hit, getting killed, and hundreds of people blocking intersections to do this. And ultimately, when we passed some of the stronger policies to address sideshows, my colleagues may recall, it was at that time that I made a comment that these were the kind of policies we should be enforcing, and not policies like the ban on cruising. And I began my work at that point, just over a year ago, in looking at our prohibition, our municipal code prohibition on cruising. And I will say I was pleasantly surprised to see that it has actually been decades since we've issued a citation. And in fact, in the conversations with the police department, this is not something that they're out there actively enforcing. It made more sense to me then as to why we should get rid of a policy that I feel truly is an example. And as you drive down Santa Clara Street or other streets in the city that have the no cruising signs up, I think just a blatant symbol of some of the historic and antiquated policies and practices that we have had here, not just in San Jose, but really throughout our country. And those that were used, I think, inappropriately in good intent to address some of the crime and gang violence that was happening here in the city, but ultimately taking a broad stroke approach and criminalizing an entire culture, and ultimately, as I described in my memo, and for those that were wondering, yes, that is a picture of me next to my 65 in the memo. In that time, really being utilized to stop those in the lowrider community, and unfortunately, as I was subjected to myself, just a belief that we were of one kind, individuals that were out engaging in criminal activity, involved in gangs, and myself, and I know many in the lowrider community were subjected to numerous stops, as I described, being curb sat, being searched. Was not aware of some of my rights at that point, and so was always willing to allow my car to be searched. Didn't know I had an option not to, honestly, and was never found with anything. I actually never even received a cruising citation, believe it or not, and that is something that happens often, where you may be pulled over for something but not issued a citation for that. In this case, though, I think it was something where it would get utilized much more frequently than the citations were actually issued. And as I said, I was pleased to see that is not a practice today, but the policy still exists, and a policy that I think is an example of that historic and systemic injustice that we've had within the criminal justice system as a whole. And so I am excited for the opportunity now to be able to bring some of my personal history and culture with the city of San Jose, and hopefully get the support of the Rules Committee and ultimately the city manager's office as well, to be able to remove this policy and in fact continue to make history within the lowrider community. The city of San Jose, as you heard from some of the comments there, has been for decades making history in the lowrider community and the Chicano culture, and this would be the first of any major city throughout the country to fully revoke a policy like this. We've had National City down by San Diego that is doing a short-term pilot to see what the removal looks like. I don't think we need to do that step. I think we need to remove this policy, be clear about it, and continue our focus on the things that are actually causing challenges and injury and death on our streets, like speeding and sideshows. And we have those policies in place. This doesn't remove any of those policies. We can still go out and ensure that we're addressing all of the challenges that we have that we want to, and keep our community safe. And so with that, I will make the motion to approve my memo, which officially is asking the city manager's office to present an MBA, because I do recognize there'll be some cost to this, especially in removing the street signs. Will need a minimal likely amount of cost to go into it. And I'll put a little asterisk. I'd like one of those signs when you take them down. So that's the motion.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Councilmember Davis.
Thanks. I see that PD is here, so I just wanted to ask Lieutenant Donahue what his thoughts. I'm assuming he's here for this item, and I just want to ask what your thoughts are on that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember. So, I am representing the department, Steve Downey, Research and Development. We're asking that the council do not take away this tool. This is a tool that we use to ensure the safety of the public. And this is something that, while right now it is not a tool that's being used very often, it is something that we do not want to lose out of our toolbox. Imagine a wrench that you have in your toolbox that you don't use all the time. That doesn't mean you throw it away when you realize you haven't been using it all the time. I'm glad the council member brought up sideshows. It's actually very much akin to sideshows, where they weren't a big issue years ago maybe 3 years ago, we didn't have a ton of sideshows. They are a huge issue now. And we've come forward and created some ordinances that are allowing us to do something about it. Now, if they lull and they are not an issue for, say, another year or two, we shouldn't throw out the ordinance. We should keep that just in case they come back. Now, we don't enforce cruising very often. The council member's office did contact us and asked us to do some research. We don't actually keep the stats because it's a municipal code, so we weren't able to track whether or not we've issued citations recently or when the last one was. The only way to do that would be to hand check every actual citation that was written in the city over the last few years. And we can't do that. So we don't know that it hasn't been written, but we also can't say that it has. So our concern is that we want to be able to have this for major events, and that we don't ban it. Maybe we just use it in limited circumstances for obvious reasons, right? But in the event that there is a major event downtown, we want to be able to have this tool in our toolbox. Thank you.
I guess I don't understand exactly how, isn't cruising like a low speed activity?
Yes. So what was happening when the ordinance was created, it wasn't just the cruising itself that was causing problems. It was the heckling that was going on, the fights that would erupt, the burnouts that would happen in the intersections, the bouncing of the cars, things like that, that created this environment where crowds would gather in the street, and there'd be other incidents that were brought about because of it. So as a result, the cruising ordinance was developed in order to stop the draw that created those other incidents, right? Like a sideshow creates other forms of violence and incidents, right? It's not just the guy doing the donuts, but it's the crowd that forms, the gunshots, the laser strikes, all the other secondary and tertiary things that occur because of the sideshow. And so that is kind of what spurred on the original cruising ordinances. And so that's why we want to address it a little differently. With a municipal code, it's a very low level enforcement. It gives us the ability to pull the car over, stop the car. You know, as the council member said, you know, he got pulled over for it, but didn't get any tickets for it. It's really just our ability to kind of calm the situation down and deal with the problem, where when you're in traffic, a sideshow wouldn't be appropriate. Sideshows are about high speed, reckless driving. Whereas when you're cruising, that's just a repetitive lapping of the area, even at low speeds, you know, things like that.
Okay, so if we took this away, and this is, I understand Councilmember Perales, this is just for an MBA, so we don't actually know if, we're not saying it's going to be repealed by making this request right now. But if we took this away and this activity started up again, what other tools would PD have to, I mean, it sounds like it's very similar to sideshows, in that will some of the sideshow ordinances, like spectating, will that be able to be used to enforce the same kind of activity?
Well, it's a good question, Councilmember. I'd have to ask the city attorney if the spectating ordinance would apply to a vehicle that's not moving at a rapid speed, that's just sitting in the roadway. Therein lies the problem that we had with cruising, is that crowds would gather in the streets. And you remember back in the day, we'd have that middle lane of Santa Clara Street, right? It'd be full of police cars and the traffic would be all jammed up and crowds would form in the street. That doesn't necessarily, I'm not sure that falls under the spectating ordinance by council or by the city attorney's office, because there's no race, there's nothing happening. There's no action by the cars causing the people to come into the streets, unless there's hydraulics or something like that. And I'm not sure that falls under it. Maybe Ms. Fryman can speak to that.
Hi, I was just trying to look up the spectating ordinance, and I haven't found it yet, but my recollection is that it was it involved speeding, it involved the blocking of the intersection, the gathering of crowds, those kinds of things, and the speeding in circles around the intersection. So I'd have to go back and look at the exact language, but this looks to me like that it's different. The cruising ordinance does look different to me, but I will go and find the language of the other.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I guess I just sort of think if this, cruising is clearly fallen out of favor as an activity. I don't know that we need to keep it on the books, but I understand where PD's coming from on this. I just, it's not like we would totally lose it. We could put it back in play if we needed to. And having it off the books when it hasn't been used in decades, most likely. I don't know, that kind of seems like it makes sense to me, but I'd like to hear I see all my other colleagues have their hands up, so I'd like to hear what they have to say.
All right, Councilmember Arenas.
So we, I think it was last summer, we gave grants to some groups downtown so that we could bring back the liveliness of downtown. I went down a couple of times. It didn't seem to really take a life of its own. And it was sad to see. I think this kind of, when you try to recreate something that maybe adults are trying to bring some level of attraction to the downtown, I think the youth can smell it and they'll say no, they just won't do it. I think this is an activity that young people and actually young people of all ages really enjoy. I know that I did when I was young, took part in cruising quite a bit. And I'll say I had always a very good time. Never was there any drama. There was a lot of, exchanging of phone numbers and stopping and grabbing a hamburger and a lot of flirting, of course, and all good fun, I think. So I would love to see this happen again. And I was looking up that National City down in San Diego just repealed their ordinance last week and has allowed for the city to have, I think, every Friday or something like that for cruising between certain hours. And for the group, I think it was a united coalition of lowriders or some group of that sort, that for them to kind of police themselves, not to require any additional police. I think this is something that the city of San Jose should look into. I'm grateful to you, Councilman Perales. I don't know that it's something that we would have pulled out in terms of a tool for economic in order to trigger some economic vibrancy in certain parts of San Jose. But I think MTV recognized that in the 80s, that they weren't, that there was this untapped audience of youth, 13 plus, that would spend a lot more money than any adult, and the adults would go along with it. And I think that we need to see our youth as those propellers of vibrancy and fashion and music and liveliness that our city needs, and that we're actually paying developers and other groups to bring into our city when we have that element within our own grasp. And we are just not using it because we don't trust the youth, and we don't trust the folks who look like the folks who own lowriders, and we just don't trust the brown skin to police themselves and to have a good time and to gather. And it really breaks my heart. When we talk about equity, this is, I think, a over policing of brown and Black people that I would like to see go away. I know for our Cinco de Mayo last week, we have a whole response. We have a whole response to make sure that brown and especially brown people don't come to the downtown, don't congregate, don't do this and don't do that. And that kind of policing, I think, needs to we need to find another tool to manage our city and to support the culture that is here in San Jose, instead of trying to whitewash the culture that I think a lot of people are very proud of, including myself. I don't necessarily recognize myself as Chicana. I recognize myself as just as Mexican American, but I know that in the Chicano culture, there's a lot of beauty, because we all share it. We love it. My husband is actually has an old Chevy truck in the back, trying to restore it to its former glory. He's never been in a gang, never has ever. I would, this is something of a passion, I think, and never, I think that this is what part of San Jose is, and I think we need to be proud of it and recognize its element. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how this would work out. And I don't know, Councilmember Perales, if you're thinking about maybe having even a period of a probation period where we, or not a probation period, I guess I shouldn't even use that word, but a period where we see how this would all work out, and how folks would kind of police themselves and how this would be managed. There's other major cities bigger than ours, like Guadalajara, who has Viva Calles, a version of their Viva Calles every single Sunday, every Sunday of the year, and it is based on volunteers and has it's absolutely safe. I've been there for the summers before the pandemic, for about 3 summers. And it is always a really nice family event. I don't understand why we over police our residents as much as we do. But so I'm trying to figure out, Councilman Perales, what is your ultimate goal with this? Would you like to see something a little bit more formatted?
Yeah, but so honestly, the immediate goal is just to remove the policy. And I'll keep my hand up to talk about that a little bit later after Councilor Cohen. But beyond that, I would say there are certainly organizations like the United Lowrider Council San Jose, and likely other clubs that have been based here in San Jose for 30, 40 years. They would love to see some of the formal cruising events, Cool April Nights, some of the events that we used to have where they were better coordinated and organized, nonprofit groups involved, right? And I likely would believe that would be some future steps, but for now it's simply just about removing this antiquated policy. And I'll dive a little bit more into that from some of the lieutenant's comments after Councilman Cohen.
Wonderful. Well, I'm also supportive of this. I hope that our colleagues are as well. This is definitely not a way to police our brown community. And when we take a look at the policies that have created systemic racism, I think this is definitely one of them. I know that when this came about and cruising was outlawed, you would have to find some other alternatives, and people just end up getting in trouble is what it ends up doing. And I'll be honest, I think we kind of led the path for a faster alternative to our youth, because if they couldn't slow cruise downtown or on the east side, they were going to go fast on some of the roads that are not being policed. And so I think that's what we see now. Also, the Fast and the Furious series did not help us, but I'll leave that out of the conversation for now. Thank you.
Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, thank you. And Councilmember Reyes makes a lot of good points, although I would just say that
when my 13-year-old spends money, it's usually me spending the money. Anyway, no, I think if we're talking about trying to prevent unsafe behaviors and gatherings that are, problematic, I think there's a lot of different things that can lead to that. And it's not that cruising itself is not the issue. It's the behaviors that we are trying to prevent. And people spilling out of a bar on a Friday night, and we hope our city will be vibrant enough that we'll have large crowds back downtown, can lead to a big problem with a crowd. Or people gathering for other holidays can engage in behaviors that we want to discourage. And so I guess maybe as part of the MBA or the analysis, we should just be looking at what are past behaviors that maybe we have to make sure we're properly behaviors themselves that may have been drawn to any kind of gathering of people that we want to make sure we're properly ordinanced for. But cruising itself is not really the point. I mean, I see people, of course, there's a new modern version of cruising at a different version of cruising at Santana Row, where people are driving their Lamborghinis right down the street there. And they're making so much noise, I can't talk at the restaurants while I'm eating there. To me, why is one behavior singled out as different than the other behavior? And so I think that there's different issues here that we can address, but I think that the proposal by Councilmember Perales is a good one. In addition to that, of course, there's still signs that talk about this specific behavior, but whereas they wouldn't necessarily, there's no signs up right now saying no sideshows here, right? I mean, so to me, that's in itself problematic, and we ought to move beyond that. And so I'm supportive of the memo and exploring how we sunset this policy, but make sure I assume we already have the right ordinances on the books to make sure that we don't allow behaviors that we would say are dangerous or will cause a problem in the community. But if we don't, then we should fix that. But I don't think that this behavior itself is what we need to be regulating.
Thank you, Councilmember Cohen. Just so you know, there is a Tesla car club that you should consider joining.
So, but that's when you can't hear it coming, right?
Hey, Councilmember Perales.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I first off appreciate my colleagues' input, and I want to just say that it actually thank you, Lieutenant Donahue, because I think you described exactly what I was trying to describe, and what I think is the truth is that it's not cruising, as you stated, that we're actually trying to enforce. It's and I put that in my memo, right? It's these other things that are happening that happen to also be illegal, that I don't think we need a cruising ordinance or ban on cruising to prohibit. It is still illegal to block an intersection. You don't need cruising to come out there and enforce that. It's illegal to set, whether it's setting up a sideshow or just to block an intersection. That's illegal, right? And we don't need a new law on the books, and we certainly don't need a cruising prohibition to enforce that. Absolutely, the other, I think more dangerous instances, things like sideshows or burnouts, right? Even if they're not necessarily an exact sideshow, but somebody is doing a donut or a burnout, and all of that is illegal. And those are, much worse tickets. I know, because I got a burnout ticket when I was 16. And so all of those tools, I think, that are actually the tools that we today use and we would want to continue to use are still going to be available. I'm going to read the definition of the cruising, the actual ban on cruising, that what cruising is defined as. So this is in the San Jose Muni Code. For purposes of this chapter, cruising shall be defined as the repetitive driving of any motor vehicle past a traffic control point in congested traffic at or near the traffic control point. That's it. That is what we are. That's what we are banning. Driving repeatedly around the same point in an area where it's banned, and traditionally, as we know with cruising, driving very slowly. None of that, I think, needs to be enforced whatsoever. All of the auxiliary things that we may want to enforce, the things that are actually dangerous, are still going to be illegal. And I thank you for Councilmember Cohen for pointing out the display, right, of these signs. We don't put up signs that say sideshows are illegal. We all know it, and we've got a ton of enforcement going out against it, but we're not marketing that in East San Jose to, you know, the Chicano Latino community that, hey, you can't engage in this activity that's maybe part of your culture that, again, a kid like me that had absolutely nothing to do with, you know, with gangs in San Jose or drugs or guns or violence, none of that. That was just a part of my culture that I grew up with, cruising with my parents as a young kid and then myself. That all of a sudden you became a target, and now when you see those signs, you know that you're still targeted. And again, yet for something that I think you know, should not be even a law in the books. And so you know, I think that there's more than enough good reason as to why we should get rid of this Muni code. And I think there's still more than enough protections for all of the other things that are illegal that we would want to continue to enforce, that aren't discriminatory in nature, that won't be utilized like cruising, as the lieutenant said, and as I was an example of, where you might get stopped for that, but that's not actually the end goal or intent of this municipal code. And we did do a check actually with the city manager's office and the finance team to determine, because if we were to collect a fine on this, we would be able to have that. We wouldn't necessarily have to go and hand check citations from officers. And we could not locate collected fees or the fine either. And so again, I think that historically this is not utilized, not needed, and I think for many other reasons it's not. I didn't know if Lee, if you from the city manager's office wanted to add a perspective as well.
No perspective other than yes, I can concur with the council member Perales. Finance department was unable to find any evidence short of using microfiche and going back several years to look for any fines. And I would just say, I mean, at this point, we're being asked to do policy analysis. So I think, you know, the points that Lieutenant Donahue brings up are really important. But just as he said and Councilmember Perales said, I think, you know, where we'll focus our MBA and where we want to focus the work is if we still have concerns, but the cruising ordinance is a way to get at those, why do we not have rules on the books that are much more purposeful and focused on what we're trying to avoid? And so just as we always promise with policy analysis, those are the things that we can tee up in the MBA for you guys to understand and make those choices. And can certainly, as Councilmember Arenas mentioned, if we were going to do this or we were going to pilot it, what type of partnerships would we want in this first year to really help spread the word? And it sounds like there's an awful lot of organizations that can help with that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know, for instance, the United Lowrider Council of San Jose formed specifically from different clubs in an interest to try and better engage with the city on things just like this. But in fact, what they've been doing, they partnered with our library at MLK Library to host an exhibit on low riding here in the city. They've partnered with me on tree giveaways for the holidays. You know, these organizations are, I think, more than happy and willing to work with us. And I agree with your point that if there is another focus or intent that we're really trying to get at, then we should have very direct and specific rules in that regard, and not something that's broad like this is, and that I think is unnecessary and discriminatory in nature. And so I look forward to the MBA and hopefully getting support from the council, not only today, but as that comes forward through the MBA process. Thanks.
Thank you, council member. I'm supportive of your memo. I do think that there's some additional information and detail that we need to get. And I also see where there might be some room for compromise. So I am supportive, not to mention the fact that, again, bringing back some great memories. And so,
Vice Mayor, just one moment. I wanted to get the exact language to the committee for what it's worth, but the exact language that we were prohibiting in the spectator ordinance was street racing and reckless driving exhibitions. And it references vehicle code, the state vehicle code for a number of the types of reckless driving exhibitions. So that would be the donuts in the intersection and those kinds of things. But the exact language is street races and reckless driving exhibitions.
Mhm. Thank you, Nora. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Perales,
Keep it low and slow. Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Not on to the next item, which is from the city manager's office, SB 1100. A Dave Cortese bill. Let's actually, I'll have the city manager's office speak to it first, and then we'll go to public comments.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor Jones and council members. This is Zane Barnes, Deputy Director for Intergovernmental Relations, and it's my pleasure to present a brief overview of SB 1100. Under existing California law, the Brown Act authorizes a legislative body to address disruptions through removal of an individual or group of individuals who willfully interrupt the proceedings of a public meeting. If, after their removal, order still cannot be restored, the legislative body can order that a meeting room be cleared entirely without allowing news media to still observe the meeting. This bill, which has been introduced by Senator Cortese, authorizes a legislative body's presiding member to remove an individual for disrupting the meeting after providing a warning that the individual is disrupting the proceedings, a request that the individual curtail the disruptive behavior or be subject to removal, and a reasonable opportunity to curtail the disruptive behavior. Further, it defines disrupting as engaging in behavior that actually disrupts, disturbs, impedes, or renders infeasible the orderly conduct of the meeting. And it includes, but is not limited to, both A, a failure to comply with reasonable law and regulations adopted by the legislative body, and B, engaging in behavior that includes the use of force or true threats of force. The warning, however, is not required for behavior that includes the use of force or true threats of force. This bill's proposal would allow the presiding members of the city's Brown Act legislative bodies, including the city council committees, and various boards and commissions, to eject an individual for disrupting the orderly conduct of a legislative body meeting. This bill confirms and clarifies how to respond to disruptive behaviors during the course of a meeting by having it statutorily provided for. This bill was heard and passed in the Senate Governance and Finance Committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee, and on the Senate floor. It is now due to be heard on the Assembly Local Government Committee in June. The bill has been supported by more than 80 organizations, including the Santa Clara County, the California Association of Counties, Urban Counties of California, the California Contract Cities Association, California Special Districts Association, City Clerks Association as well. So we're asking the Rules Committee to adopt a position on SB 1100 and agendize this for the May 24th City Council meeting. Tom Westfall and I are available for any questions.
Great. Thank you, Zane. We'll now go to the public. Are there any public comments?
There are no hands up.
All right.
Move to the approval of staff recommendation.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. I don't see any hands raised for comments. I'm definitely in favor of this as well. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Perales,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. On to open forum.
Okay, this is the opportunity to speak on items that are not on the agenda. So everybody who wanted to speak earlier, this is your opportunity. Catherine Hedges.
Thank you very much. And I would like to reiterate what people were saying from Somos Mayfair, that we need to have a proper study session with a specified date, preferably in the evening, so that people who work can attend. And also, anytime we have agenda items that pertain to a specific ethnic community, we should have the appropriate interpreters. For example, we were discussing low writing today, and that's obviously relevant to the Spanish-speaking community, but we didn't have any interpreters. And I hope that we have interpreters from as many languages as possible when we discuss the agenda item about non-citizen voting, because as one of the speakers pointed out, it's not just immigrants from Mexico and other places south of the border. There's also a lot of Indians and Asian Pacific Islanders. We're a very international kind of community in San Jose, and I hope that everyone has the ability to speak in their own language and have the proceedings interpreted to them in their own language, because even if you know English well enough to work at a service job or something, that's different than having all the right terminology to understand American legalese. Thank you very much.
Luna?
Good afternoon. My name is Tony Romero. I am a community organizer with Latinos United for New America. I am here to demand to keep the study session that was planned on May 23rd at 6 p.m. This is to make sure that it meets the ballot measure deadline. All council members have agreed to have this study session, and the delaying it would only add more anger and disappointment from San Jose residents. This is a concern that should be prioritized by the council and should not be delayed at all. I hope that you all will do the right thing and keep the study session as was planned. Thank you for your time.
Ilza Gonzalez?
Good afternoon. My name is Ilza Gonzalez. I'm a taxpayer resident in San Jose. And I have to say that last week when I heard that we were moving the study session, when a week before we came to ask you all to please move it on a time where community were able, and there was a set day, and moving it the next week without community being informed of it or without being part of the agenda, it was really disappointing. It talks about the lack of that community voice being heard. It talk about how these things that matters to community, and it talks about is the lack of transparency from this council. So I would like to ask to please set up that the study session for May 23rd. And if it is needed, we need to have it. This will make sure that we met the timeline to put it on the voters. Let the voters decide. Let the study session happen. And then finally, I believe that the lack of transparency and the lack of communication within community that wants this to happen, it's just pushing us to take direct actions and make noise in the city based on the decisions that you have been making without involving us. Lastly, I would like to ask for translations to be here when we talk about matters that impacts us directly, that Spanish community, that Vietnamese community, and any other community out there that their English is not our first language. We have a lot of community that wants to participate, but because of the lack of translations, we can't. City things matter to us because we live here, we pay the taxes here, and our voice needs to matter as well. Thank you and have a really good afternoon.
Letty?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for all my partners speaking on this item. I'm agree with what all of them have shared so far. So we are really disappointed of the decisions that are made without letting the community know that we're not having the study session on the 17th as was planned. So we urge you to consider to have this study session on the 23rd. So we can be on the timeline to send this to the ballot in September, so the voters can decide if they want to vote in this or not, or if they want to push this to be true here in San Jose. We have a lot of people who really deserve to be voting on issues that matters to everyone here in San Jose. If we're talking about to have a San Jose inclusive, so then we need to include all of the people who wishes to vote on issues that they care about. And then the same, the lack of communication with the community in terms of deciding to move things. That's something that should not be happening. And then I appreciate your comments when you said about that we need to have this translator people ready to translate whoever who is in these items to speak. At this moment, we didn't know that, or we don't know how to request that, or we have to request that, or the city should have those already for people who wanted to be in these meetings. We just need to know the way to make this happen. And then if it's a process that organizations needs to follow, just please let us know so we can prepare and talk with our people to come and be ready to be speaking in these meetings. Thank you.
Jennifer?
Hello, my name is Jennifer Parra, and I'm a resident here in San Jose. And I'm just here to honestly express the disappointment and frustration about the moving of the study session from May 17th to an unknown date, because we didn't get that either. I just don't understand why it's so hard for us to, we're not asking for much. We're just asking to voice our opinion, voice why this is so fundamental for our community. And not just that, but I think that, we create such a large representation of city. Like you guys were speaking about the cruising, how basically that it's, against Latin culture. I don't understand why interpretation is also as difficult, knowing that Spanish speakers are such a large portion of our city. All we're asking really is to be able to have taking direct action and scheduling the study session so we can explain why this is so important for our community. We are not going to be silenced, and we're going to be here, and we're going to be explaining every session if that's necessary to let you guys know that this is necessary and our community is not going anywhere until we're heard. That's all we're really asking for. Thank you.
Veronica?
Great, thank you. I'm also here echoing the same sentiments as previous speakers. It is frustrating, beyond frustrating, right? To the fact that I have to, again, I was in the last one asking you all to schedule it, and then it went through. Yay. And I was like, okay, those 15 minutes of my break that I had to put aside to make this call, it worked. And now here I am again, and not knowing when that study session is, right? And just to let you know, not everyone that is on this call might not have the, be able to vote yet. But people like myself, that I'm a voter and I want to learn more and I want to know more. And I'm pretty sure there's 1,000 more other people that want to learn more about it. And also thinking about like that transparency. What we have no date yet. There is nothing set on stone, and it was just moved just without a cost, right? And it's, again, one more time, frustrating that it doesn't have to be in the language that our community should be aware of, right? Again, it's in English, and I'm privileged enough to know English and to be hearing by word of mouth about this happening. But what about the other people that do not? And that is a representation of more than 2/3 of San Jose. And this is just beyond frustrating. And many of you are running, right? And it's convenient for you to say, hey, look at my community and for those photo ops. But yet when it comes to actually doing some action, where are you? Instead, you're hiding behind a date that we don't even know. Instead, you're hiding behind something else and blaming it on other people. Actually do some actions, come out to the community, not just for photo ops, but actually for something that you did. And again, this is so frustrating.
Victor?
I think Eduardo, maybe you can.
Good afternoon, Victor Vasquez. Yeah, I'm a taxpayer and a voting resident here in San Jose. definitely disappointed. And I just want to ask you to consider also what you mean by expert. I know that you have experts who are professors, and we have some as well here in San Jose State that we should look. But we have a lot of community members who are the experts of being excluded from the voting rights process. They've lived their lives, managed their lives, have gone through extreme situations, both to make their lives here in San Jose. Um, and I think they are the experts. And I also want you to consider that, we must learn from our past. Like, how long did it take for us to move towards decriminalizing this low riding? Why do we have to wait as well? We shouldn't have to wait. We shouldn't delay. We should take some bold action and continue to agendize this item to have a study session so then you all can let the voters decide. And I agree. I think nobody, like everybody has said, we're not going to take a step back. We're going to continue whether or not we get this study session agendized for this year, next month, next week. We're not going to stop. And so I want you to use your power to schedule the study session at a time that meets the deadlines to be on the ballot measure for November. And I want you to prioritize that as well. And lastly, in terms of interpretation, there's been years that people have asked for this. They shouldn't have to ask anything. We should agendize that as part of the budget and make it a recurring item in our city hall, just as a good practice. So I'm interested in looking at civil rights law to think about what language justice looks like.
Irina?
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Mi comentario va a ser en español. Soy un contribuyente y residente en San José y estoy decepcionada e inconforme por el hecho de que están retrasando y haciendo falsas promesas sobre cuándo realizan la sesión de estudio de derecho al voto. El Consejo ya ha acordado tener esta sesión de estudio y creo que el Consejo lo que está pidiendo es que por favor alto a la demora y programe la sesión de estudio ahora. Estamos listos para tomar acción directa y hacer ruido en la ciudad a base de su decisión. Tienen el poder de programar la sesión de estudio, pero eligen ignorarlos. Estamos seguros de que la razón por la que no se prioriza nuestra voz es porque seguimos sin el derecho al voto. Está claramente la razón por la que debemos priorizar la expansión del voto y reprogramarla y poner la sesión de estudio para el 23 de mayo a las 6 p.m. Por favor, dejen de ignorar a la comunidad y abran la sesión de estudio para el 23 de mayo para que les dé un tiempo razonable para poner el noviembre en la boleta. Gracias.
Gabriel?
Good afternoon. My name is Gabriel Manrique, a resident of District 3 and a taxpayer. I'm really disappointed and angry at the fact you are trying to move the study session to August. The council had agreed to have this study session on May 17. Please stop the delay. I'm demanding to schedule this study session now for May 23rd at 6 p.m. Non-citizens pay taxes and contribute to the local economy. It is time for them to have the right to vote. Also, let the people of San Jose be part of this democratic process and allow them to make a choice on the ballot this coming November. The community is ready to take direct action and make noise in the city based on your decision. You have the power to schedule the study session, yet you choose to ignore the community that contributes to make San Jose great. We are confident the reason why you don't prioritize our votes is because we continue to lack the right to vote. This is clearly why we need to prioritize expanding the vote to all. I am demanding to schedule the study session for May 23rd at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Socorro?
Good afternoon. My name is Socorro. I'm a taxpayer and a citizen in San Jose. I was born and raised and shaped by the innovative and diverse culture here. My community involvement is why I'm frustrated that there wasn't Spanish or Vietnamese translation today. I'm also questioning why currently various council members have their cameras off and we can't see them as we speak our truth to power. I'm also one of many people who are disappointed and angered at the fact that you are delaying and making false promises on when to hold the voting rights study session. The council has already agreed to hold this study session. Therefore, you are not doing what the city council asked from you. You are not fulfilling your jobs. Stop the delay, study the study session now. We are ready to take direct action and make noise in the city based on your decision. You have the power to schedule the study session for a time when our community that works full-time can turn out. We are confident that the reason you haven't prioritized our voice is because many continue to lack the right to vote. We know our community action and voice is valuable. This is clearly why we need to prioritize expanding the right to vote to all. Schedule the study session for May 23rd at 6 p.m. and allow our impacted community members to speak as the experts they are. Thank you.
Juan Estrada.
Dear Rules Committee, my name is Juan Estrada. I am speaking as a San Jose resident who regularly volunteers to improve our quality of life. I ask that you schedule the voting rights study session to consider maximizing the ability to participate. Being American is a way of life and holding a set of values rather than a piece of paper, believing in the American dream, working hard to provide for you and your family, valuing freedom and democracy. I'll stop with the examples because I'm preaching to the choir. They're the values we all hold. They're the values my mother held from the time she immigrated while working long hours at a cannery, while taking ESL classes as a single mother, while practicing for her citizenship test, and to this day as a grandmother who achieved the American dream. This city benefits when hardworking individuals who share those values participate in decision-making. It is time to consider increasing the benefit to the city by increasing the ability of those individuals to participate. I respectfully request that you schedule the voting rights study session if you believe all hardworking taxpayers just like you should be able to vote in San Jose in order to help improve our quality of life. Thank you.
Arturo.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Arturo Munoz, resident and taxpayer in San Jose. We are going to stay in disappointment as you continue to not prioritize a solution that would benefit the entire San Jose community. Continuing to delay the prioritization of scheduling the study session for May 23rd at 6 p.m. is an active decision on your part to continue to silence thousands and thousands of members of the San Jose city. If you truly care about decriminalizing lowriding, practicing inclusivity, and being the mirror of the community's best interests, you would be prioritizing the study session and scheduling it for May 23rd at 6 p.m. without any second thoughts. In addition, because this solution to racial inequality in San Jose is a topic relevant to all ethnic backgrounds, we urged for all meetings relating to the expansion of the city of voting rights to include translations of all common languages in San Jose. Our community is growing tired. Stop the delay and schedule a study session for May 23rd at 6 p.m. And I yield my time.
718-9330. Okay, I'm going to move on to Rosa Cordova.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Rosa Córdoba. Vivo en el Distrito 7. Soy voluntario de Luna, Latinos Unidos por una Nueva América. Soy un contribuyente residente de San José. Estoy decepcionada y enojada por el hecho de que estén retrasando y haciendo falsas promesas sobre cuándo realizar la sesión de estudio y sobre los derechos del voto. El Consejo ya acordó tener una sesión de estudio. No están haciendo su trabajo y lo que el Consejo te pidió. Alto la demora, programa una sesión ahora. Estamos listos para tomar acción directa y hacer ruido en la ciudad. En base a su decisión, si tienes el poder de programar la sesión de estudio, pero eligen ignorarnos, estamos seguros de que la razón por lo que la gente prioriza nuestra voz es porque seguimos sin el derecho al voto. Esta es claramente la razón por la que debemos priorizar la expansión del voto para todos. Programa la sesión de estudio para el 23 de mayo a las 6 de la tarde. Gracias.
Araceli?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Araceli. I'm here on behalf of Sacred Heart Community Services from the Classes Committee. And I am here also to echo the disappointment and frustration that the study session has been delayed. And I'm here to encourage you to adjourn the study session to a time that allows the community to explore and engage with this new imagining of the city for the benefit of all. And so I encourage you to stop the delay and program the study session for May 23rd at 6 p.m. Thank you.
David?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is David Vivanco, and I am a resident here in San Jose. And I want to mimic a lot of what a lot of the people are saying. We are very disappointed. I am disappointed. Yeah, I'm very disappointed due to you guys not keeping your word. It is very frustrating. We have been here in the meetings. We've been trying to get you guys to change it due to a lot of working people not being able to hear their voice. And we would also like translation. It's also not fair for everybody not to be heard. We would like the session to be the 23rd of May at 6 p.m. That would be a very helpful thing for the community. So you can hear a lot of the working people that actually pay for the taxes and are here supporting and helping the economy. I would like to rest my time and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Fernanda?
Good afternoon. My name is Fernanda Perdomar Ciniegas. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I work and live at San Jose in San Jose, District 10, and work in equity, inclusion, and diversity. I work in an equity, inclusion, and diversity office, and what I'm seeing here is a systemic and institutional barrier to inclusion of a community that wants to be heard. The fact that we don't have translation again, not only is disappointing, but it's upsetting because after last meeting, I took the time to send to the city clerk a service that does translation in real time. And it's really upsetting that this is not happening today. Also, I don't understand how you can't find an expert when we have several universities in the Bay Area, including San Jose State, where I work, Santa Clara University, Stanford, San Francisco State, East Bay, and a number of community colleges where lots of experts and faculty could provide you information on this issue. Also, we have a large number of nonprofits who also have experts. I also think that you have a privilege of being in city government. So I don't imagine that it will be super difficult to find, pick up the phone and call the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, or the former mayor of College Park, Andrew Fellow, who actually can give you information about how the processes happen in their cities. And there are several other cities where this issue has been already approved, like College Park, Hyattsville, Mount Rainier, and Tacoma Park. So what I'm telling you is, please let us have this conversation May 23rd at 6 p.m. It's what the city wants, is what the citizens of San Jose want.
Daniel? Daniel Vasquez.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Daniel, and I'm living here in San Jose, in California, for almost 20 years. And I am a painter. I am with Papeles para Todos. I am a taxpayer resident in San Jose, and we are disappointed, angered at the fact you are delaying and making false promise on when to hold the voting rights study session. The council has agreed to have this study session already. You are not doing your job. And what the council asked from you, stop the delay, schedule the study session now. And we are ready to take direct action and make noise in the city based on your decision. You have the power to schedule the study session, yet you chose to ignore us. We are confident the reasons why you don't priorities or voice is because we continue to lack the right to vote. This is clearly why we need to priorities expanding the vote to all. Schedule the study session for May 2023 at 6 p.m. I'm going to tell this en Spanish now. Mi nombre es Daniel y soy un contribuyente residente en San José. Estamos decepcionados, enojados por el hecho de que están retrasando y haciendo falsas promesas sobre cuándo realizar la sesión de estudio sobre los derechos de voto. El Consejo ya ha acordado tener esta sesión de estudio. No están haciendo tu trabajo y lo que el Consejo te pidió. Alto a la demora, programa la sesión de estudio ahora. Estamos listos para tomar acción directa y hacer ruido en base a su decisión. Tienes el poder de programar la sesión de estudio, pero eligen ignorarnos. Estamos seguros de que la razón por la que no priorizan nuestra voz es porque seguimos sin el derecho al voto. Esta es claramente la razón por la que debemos priorizar la expansión del voto a todos. Programa la sesión de estudio para el 23 de mayo a las 6 de la tarde. Gracias y que tengan buen día. Thanks and you have a great day.
Gustavo. Gustavo Flores.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, my name is Gustavo Flores. I'm a resident in San Jose for 30 years, and I feel really frustrated because, again, you guys have no translation, and I'm disappointed. I know a few members of my community, they speak in Spanish, and I feel for you guys don't understand because we do understand. So I'm not going to be repeating everything that people says because it's the same and I'm agreeing with everything. So you already know because you are intelligent and you understanding. So I'm not going to be repeating everything, but I'm going to use this time to show my disappointed with the other council members because they're hiding from us. So I think this is what happened. And also I'm gonna show you my disappointment because we all pay taxes, people, and the people who speak Spanish also pay taxes. We also have the right to understand and speak. And thank you very much. Have a great day.
Fermina. Fermina Reyes. Okay, I'm going to move on to Laura. Laura. Okay, I'm going to move to Jeremy Bruce.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeremy Bruce, and I am a resident and taxpayer here in San Jose. The council overwhelmingly supported moving the issue of non-citizen voting to a study session back in January, and we need to see that through. We urge the Rules and Open Government Committee to schedule the council study session to May 23rd at 6 p.m. so we can keep all available options open for our next steps. We need to have our day in the council chambers. I urge the Rules and Open Government Committee to do the right thing. Schedule a study session as soon as possible. And also like to echo prioritizing translation for all council committee meetings. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Maria?
Hi, my name is Maria Ramirez.
Go ahead.
That you guys take the time and open the 26th, I'm sorry, the May 26th for the making the voting for the sorry, hold on. I'm going. For the section of the voting for the studio, and we are very unconformed with your action that you guys not making the right work for us. We are doing very huge impact here in San Jose as a owners of business, as a worker. We was the first line on pandemic for the community, helping San Jose with the resources in our business. And we had a right to demand that you guys make part of your job, because as you do your job, we do our job, and we want that you guys make a space for open for our community in there. I think we have rights as a taxpayers, and we have voice too. We know that we have voice. That's why everyone who's here, I mean,
Hector?
¿Me escuchan?
Go ahead.
Sí. Mi nombre es Héctor Rincón. Yo también pago impuestos en San José y quiero manifestar también mi decepción y mi enojo por el hecho de que están retrasando y haciendo falsas promesas sobre cuándo realizar la sesión de estudio sobre los derechos al voto. El Consejo ya ha acordado tener esa sesión de estudio. No están haciendo su trabajo y lo que el Consejo le pidió. Alto a la demora, programa la sesión de estudio ahora. Estamos listos para tomar acción directa y hacer el ruido en la ciudad en base a su decisión. Tienes el poder de programar la sesión de estudio, pero eligen ignorarnos. Estamos seguros de que la razón por la que no prioriza nuestra voz es porque seguimos sin el derecho al voto. Esta es claramente la razón por la que debemos priorizar la expansión del voto a todos. También quiero manifestar mi frustración por el hecho de no haber tenido la interpretación en el día de hoy, lo cual es una manifestación más de la manera como no quieren escuchar nuestras voces. Muchas gracias.
Trujillo Miguel?
Sí, soy Trujillo Miguel Vázquez. Voy a hablar en español, protestando el que no haya una interpretación en español para nuestra gente esencial, que dio, arriesgó su vida y ahora está siendo ignorada. Me da pena que se haya pospuesto este estudio por una razón tan insignificante por la que se hizo, restándole tanta importancia. Yo que como, yo que vivo, yo que bebo con esta gente esencial, esa gente esencial que ustedes se benefician de ellos, que están ellos voluntarios en sus campañas, hijos, para que se pongan ahí, hagan el trabajo por el cual este pueblo los eligió. Soy poeta de San José y los poetas escribimos la historia. Me cercioraré de que sus acciones, buenas, si es que ustedes corrigen su camino, o malas, estén escritas en la historia de San José. Los amamos. Hagan su trabajo, por favor. Trujillo Miguel Vázquez, poeta.
Paula?
Hi, yeah, my name is Paola, and I'm also a taxpayer resident in San Jose. I'm really just here to elevate the message of all of my compañeros and compañeras. I'm also really frustrated and just disappointed in the postponement of our voting rights study session, even after it was already agreed and scheduled for the 17th. You guys have to understand that rescheduling and postponing our study session that you guys promised us gives us the impression that our voices in our community is clearly not a priority to you guys. And you guys are really just giving us false promises. You guys clearly have the power to schedule this study session for a day that works for us, which we are proposing to be May 23rd at 6 p.m., in which our community can participate. Ignoring our community and our voices is unacceptable, and this is clearly why we need to prioritize expanding the vote to all. So again, I urge you guys, like the rest of my teammates have said, to schedule the study session now, not in 2 months, not in 3, but on May 23rd at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Adriana? Adriana Garcia? I actually don't know who I'm hearing right now because I'm showing Adriana is still muted. But Adriana, if that's you, you're just very faint. Okay, I'm going to move back to Laura. Let's try you again.
Sí, buenas tardes, ¿me escucha?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sí, buenas tardes, mi nombre es Laura y yo también soy una contribuyente y pago todos mis taxes cada año aquí en la ciudad de San José. Pues la verdad sí estoy también estoy muy de acuerdo con todos mis compañeros en estar un poco molestos de que estén moviendo la sesión de estudios para el derecho al voto como si no fuera una cosa, no la tomaran tan importante. Entonces sí nos gustaría estar viendo que ahora lo tomen en serio y no estar moviendo la sesión de estudio hasta agosto, porque esto ya estaba programado para mayo. Y también pues si no estamos listos para tomar acción directa y también hacer ruido si nuestra voz no es escuchada esta vez. Entonces también quería también hacer saber que estoy un poco molesta por lo del traductor. Entonces, thank you, City Councils. Next time, if you want to understand, we need a translator. Thank you. That's it.
Adriana, let's try you again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for that. My name is Adriana Garcia. I am a resident of District 7, and I'm asking for the leadership in the room to please maintain the study session, to keep the study session originally scheduled, to ensure that there's a reflective process to considering how more people, more residents of City of San Jose can politically participate in the envisioning for a better, more inclusive, equitable, and diverse San Jose. Please consider working with the leaders in the community to ask them what you need from us to ensure that those processes that happen at the city level can hear our voices, especially for the consideration of non-citizen voting privileges. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
All right, thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.